2023. We're looking at today, which is the Valentine's Day, looking at how we can start to get into self-mastery, self-study, self-reflection, and self-understanding. And so, how are we going to go through the challenges of learning from ourselves? I'm embarking on another part of my journey, which is to start to sit down a little bit more and start to put a little bit more energy into oneself. And so at different stages and different phases in your life, you're going to face off against different things. And one of those things that you face off against is the challenges that you've had and the things that you've gone through. And so sometimes you recognize that you can only do that by yourself, that sometimes you have to give yourself the space to be able to recognize that, to be able to sit inside of oneself and to start to study the challenges that you're facing off against. And as you're recognizing that, as you're sitting, as you're starting to open yourself up, you'll start to recognize that the time that you invest on yourself, that you invest being who you are, that you invest caring about the person that you are inside, starts to open up the challenges that you're truly facing off against. It starts to open up the level of understanding that what you've gone through, only you can overcome from yourself. Only you can spend the time to grow. Only you can put yourself in that place. And from time to time, there'll be people that might be able to help lift you. There might be people who will help you to get your mentality into a centered place of being. And what really matters is what you focus into. Where do you put your energy, and how do you put your energy into that place? And so I'm looking at this time right now as a place of growth. I'm looking at this time, some of you might be in a time where you're in a break, or you might be having a challenge on this Valentine's Day itself, to where you need that kind of time for yourself. You need to set some time aside to start to put the energy into you, to start putting the investment into you, to start to put the mentality into that place where you start using your challenges and you start using the things that you might be going through. And so, how do we start to enable the mentality when things are not working in our favor? How do we start to put it into a place where we allow it to help us to grow, where we backtrack, where we actually take the steps to focus into the things that actually might have stopped us from growing, from actually putting ourselves in a place where we focus through the challenges, where we start to put ourselves in a place where we have an ability to manifest through the challenges that we face off against. And so, see, a lot of people see that a time space, and this is for those people that might be on a break in their relationships and stuff like that. It's almost as if what it is that we have to focus to overcome our challenges, and we have to give ourselves the space to do so. We have to give ourselves the space to manifest our mentality, to truly be who we are on the inside, that we can work through our challenges by by focusing to the point where we manifest what we want to work through, where we can get to the point where the mentality starts to open up, to where we see the challenges that we're facing off against. We see the things that we're working through, the things that we want to work on. And as we do so, as we give ourselves that kind of space to see the positive in that, that we start to focus through the challenges that truly go on inside of ourselves. And as we put ourselves in that kind of mentality to where we give some time to focus, we give some time to see what really matters, what values really matter to us, we can see the positive in that ability to focus past the challenges that we face off against within ourselves. Now, each person's challenges are going to be different. Each person's mentality, each person's vibration, each person's manifestation is going to be different. And so, as we start to recognize ourselves, as we start to set time aside for ourselves, as we start to put ourselves in a place where we start to focus into that ability to start to grow from self-development, self-esteem, self-uplifting, we start to recognize that when we give ourselves time and we give ourselves a place for energy, we give ourselves a place to manifest who we truly are on the inside, then what happens is we all benefit from that. We benefit from focusing to the point where we see who we are inside, where we become sufficient inside of who we are. Now, through doing that for ourselves, we don't only gain self-esteem, we also gain the ability to be who we are on the inside. Now, when we're going through challenges, we have to recognize that the challenges that we're going through are not there to stop us. They're not there to hold us back. They are not there to bring us down. They're actually there to help us to grow. They're there to help us to become who we are on the inside. And a lot of the times we neglect our own energy by putting it into other people instead of working on our own challenges for ourselves. So if you're in a time where you feel like there is a space and that you don't understand why, it's actually growth that's happening. It's actually the ability inside of oneself to focus to the point where what they're going through inside of who they are actually matters. And so a lot of times we seek out the things that we think would make us happy instead of what truly makes us happy inside of ourselves. So an example of this is when you put a lot of energy into somebody else and you kind of in a way start to lose yourself. So it's okay to put energy into other people, but you also have to put energy into yourself. You have to give yourself time. And like I've said this over and over again, you need at least an hour a day to yourself. You need time for you to reflect. You need time for you to sit down with you and to start to grind on the challenges, that the things that you go through, the things that you face off against. It doesn't mean that those people are going to abandon you for them to have space for themselves. And this goes for you as well too. It goes for the person inside of who you are. And a lot of times people take that and they neglect that kind of time, and they don't see the self-growth. Now, a lot of times we take out what we don't understand on the people who care about us the most. So how can we start turning that time into positive mentality, into positive ability, into positive self-growth? Is through studying it, is through putting yourself in a place where you recognize who you are, you recognize what challenges you're going through, you recognize the blessing that you are, through focusing to the point where you allow the negativity to leave your life, where you allow the things that will not bring you closer to the person that you are inside. So how do we start to focus that way? How do we start to put ourselves in a place where we start to manifest the growth that we want to have? How do we start to use our challenges that we're facing off against and to see the positivity in them? And I'm really actually excited for this time and for this growth inside, because a lot of that time I was spending that energy on other people. Now, that's a wonderful thing to do as well too. However, when you look inside of yourself, you look inside of your challenges, you look inside of your being, you have to sit down with you and start investing into the energy inside of yourself, so that not only yourself benefits, but also the people around us. So self-growth actually utilizes that kind of positive mentality in such a way that we start to open up the person that we truly are inside, and that person inside starts to grow. The challenges we start to face off against. A lot of the time that you have to yourself ends up becoming the most productive time that you have. So when that starts to become recognized, when you start to recognize that it is in your interest that those challenges are coming your way, that those things that you're going through and that you're facing off against are not necessarily there to hold you back. In fact, they're there to help you to grow. So how can we use tools, and what tools can we use to start to do that? One of the things that helps us to focus on overcoming our challenges is when we shut off to the things and give ourselves time. Now, time is a very valuable thing. We only have so much of it. We only have so much time to enjoy ourselves. So many other people want your investment. So many people want your mentality. So many other people want your time. Yet the most valuable time is the time that you give to yourself. And so, are we going to go from within? Are we going to use that time in such a way that we see these kind of times as the ability to understand ourselves? And so the question and the answer to that question is yes, we can. We can, in fact, see the growth inside coming from the mentality. It comes from an able mentality to use what I've talked about on a daily basis. Now, it's interesting that I'm talking about this today of all days, because it is a wonderful thing, Because the person that you need to care for the most, the person that you need to understand the most, the person that you need the reflection to come outwards from, is from within you. So when you focus to that point where other people become motivated, where other people start to see that you can achieve your dreams, that you can achieve your being, that you can achieve who you are on the inside, that you can actually sit down and work on yourself, that motivates them to do the same thing. Now, the way I look at things is from positive and negative forces inside of the universe, that in fact our own opinions are not what matters. What actually matters is what's positive and how we can use our own self-growth to overcome our own challenges. See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that level of belief in yourself, that even when times come that are not the easiest, the fact is that they are actually bringing you closer to being who you are on the inside. So how do we start to focus through those kinds of challenges to start to see the things that bring out positivity inside of ourselves? We have to see the reason why things are happening the way they're happening. We have to see that when we chose that something was positive and negative in our lives, it wasn't from somebody else's choices, that in fact it was from our own choices. So we need to look at where we are applying our energy, where we're putting the E in emotion. And so, where are you putting your energy? What are the things that you're utilizing, that you're actually putting yourself in such a way that you can see the positive in the energy that you have inside of yourself? See, I look at this time as a place of self-growth, a place of self-reflection. See, I look at the ability to understand and to study and to manifest the mentality and the things that I want to achieve and the dreams that I want to achieve. That possibly the time and the energy that I was spending in other places was in fact slowing me down from that progress, slowing me down from those dreams, slowing me down from that ability in myself to be that person that I want to be, to uplift not only myself, but other people who want to be around me. So I take this kind of time as the ability to sit down and utilize it for self-study, to sit down and utilize it as the ability as self-growth, to sit down and to grind on what truly matters inside of oneself, and to allow the time, which is the most valuable thing on the face of the planet, to be utilized in such a way that I can utilize the energy inside. Now I want to inspire you all to see that that kind of time is actually not time spent by yourself. It's actually time spent in a way in which you are with yourself. See, a lot of people think that you're by yourself if you are actually by yourself. Sometimes we need that time for ourselves, to believe in ourselves, to love ourselves, to care for who we are on the inside. Now that we are sitting on this page, we have to sit back and we also have to recognize that the reason why the things that left our life before left our life is because we decided inside of ourselves that those things were not positive, that those things were not going to bring me closer to being who I am. They're not going to bring me closer to overcoming my challenges. And we have to look at how to turn the things that we're going through into a positive place, into a positive mentality, into a positive ability inside ourselves so that not only ourselves, but the people around us can also see that for themselves. And it takes self-growth. It takes patience. Really, realistically, it takes self-observation. It takes looking outside of our own opinions to look at what things in the universe are actually happening for us and the things that are happening against us. And so, if we can yet but take that kind of time and not go selfishly into it, but actually go into it in such a way that the self-growth comes out of us, that we start to work on our own challenges. Maybe that time when you're by yourself is actually self-growth. Maybe that time when you're by yourself is to ask yourself why these addictions have held me back and how I can start to overcome them for myself. And so it isn't for somebody else that we do things. Truly inside of ourselves is the reason why we do things. Truly inside of ourselves is why we put ourselves into a place of mentality. Truly inside of ourselves is when we start to get the ability to have an able mentality, to utilize positive thinking, to utilize positive ability, to utilize the positive being that we are on the inside. So, I enjoy time like this. I enjoy time that I have to myself. The ability to go inwards, the ability to study, the ability to, in a sense, destroy the emotion that in such a way that the people who are around me can definitely see positivity coming out because I'm not working on the challenges that I had with them. I'm truly working on what's going on inside of me. Now, I want to inspire you to do that for yourself. I want to inspire you to care about you, to want to see the reasons why people say what they do, what they care, and the way in which they look at the angles that they look at and study them, and possibly see where the self-growth can come out. Now, as we start to focus to that point, as we start to put ourselves in that kind of place, as we start to work through those kinds of challenges, then the reflection starts to come out. Then the understanding starts to come out. Then the ability to be who we are on the inside starts to come out. And you might hide it under the surface. The true person that you are inside is seeking out to become healthy. It's seeking out to become clear of mind. It's seeking out to be a beautiful, positive force in the universe and to see positivity coming out of who we are. That is what the Creator created us to be. And so, how can we start to give ourselves that kind of place? How can we start to give ourselves that kind of mentality? How can we start to see ourselves in such a way that we believe in who we are on the inside? And so, are you sitting down with you? Are you giving yourself the place for you to give yourself that kind of care, that kind of understanding that you need, that you are a blessing in the universe, that in fact people need you for you. They need you for your being. They need you for your ability, and they need you for your level of reflection. So when I'm told that I need space, what I am looking at is what I remembered when I was in San Diego and I started sleeping in my van with my 2 dogs in the car. And I started getting inside the sauna, and truly what I'm being told is you need to spend time loving yourself. So I embrace that. Okay? I embrace that because I know who I am. I know the person inside of me. I believe in the beauty that I have inside of myself, that I can focus to the point where I find positivity in all situations, positivity in mentality, positivity in ability within oneself to focus through the challenges that we face off against. That the people that are manifested in our lives, that come along in our journeys, that are on our paths, are there because the universe brings it our way. So if we can yet but embrace those kind of times, if we can embrace those kinds of challenges, if we can embrace that kind of mentality, then the ability inside of ourselves to vibrate outwards with that level of care, that level of positivity becomes available. So, are you in a time where you might feel that way? Are you in a time where you're looking at, you might have sped something up that you truly do want to slow down? You truly do want to understand the story. You truly do want to understand the being inside of the people that you want in your life, in your circle, in your level of focus, and how you can start to bring positivity towards your life and other people that are around you. See, the universe views you as a tool. It looks at the major web of the challenges that you face off against, the things and the actions and reactions that you make. They see the positive things, and that is where you come in to see that for yourself. What is it that you're bringing towards you? What is it that you are manifesting? What is it that you are focusing into? What is it that you are focusing through? And how are you utilizing your mentality in such a way that you have the ability to overcome your challenges? So, that is where writing stuff down comes in. You have got to get to the place inside of yourself where you're using your vibration in a positive way, where you're using your mentality in a positive way, where you're using your ability, and the things and the challenges that you face off against have no ability to hurt you. And this includes everyone, including myself. We are blessings. The challenges that we face off against are there to become overcome with positive thinking, positive ability. Positive challenges are not there to stop you. They're actually there to help you to grow. They're there to help you to be who you are on the inside. They're there to help you to understand, to start to see the reasons why those people care the way they do, to see the reasons why the person that you are inside is important, reason why the challenges that you're going through are in front of you, reason why only you can overcome your challenges for yourself. Only you can see the universal purpose. Only you could see the universal path, the universal understanding that it takes for one to sit down inside of themselves and to be patient with oneself to grow. Now, during that time of patience, during that time of study, during that time and that place where you're looking inside of yourself, that might possibly be a place of growth inside of you. It might possibly be a growth inside of your being. It might possibly be a growth inside of overcoming those challenges, not for somebody else, but for yourself. Now, why is going inwards important? When we start to go inwards, when we start to shut down to the things that are going on around us, when we don't allow the noise and the things that would hold us back, when we start to look at the reasons why things happen, and how things happen. We start to get to the place where the student inside of ourselves is, where the ability inside of who we are really starts to open up. That's where the place of focus actually starts to give you the ability to study, give you the ability to be who you are within, give you the ability to spend time on who you truly are and what you truly want to achieve and the dreams you truly want to overcome, and to overcome the emotions that might be holding you back, and to overcome the pains that you might be going through, and to let these things become you as a student. Study yourself, study your challenges, study the person that you are inside. Give yourself the time. Don't seek out others for what already is within you. What I'm saying is, if you don't give yourself time to study, if you don't give yourself time to decompress, and you reapply that energy into places that would stop you from growing, that would stop you from understanding yourself, then the student inside of the classroom loses the ability to learn from the lessons themselves. And one of those lessons is self-patience, self-observation, studying what you're doing, how you're doing things. Are these people bringing positivity into my life? Are these people starting to bring me closer to who I am inside, into the light that I am, into the beauty that I have inside of myself? And so it is a blessing to have those kinds of challenges so that we can overcome those kinds of challenges. See, if you don't allow yourself time to decompress, if you don't allow yourself to have that place of growth, if you don't allow yourself that place of understanding and that being and that place for you to be who you are on the inside, then you will neglect the important part of who you are. If you don't get to see that you're important, if you don't get to see that you have what it takes, that you have what it takes to be who you are on the inside, then when the challenges come, you'll start seeking them from other people. You'll see seeking them from other places. You'll start seeking them from others' mentality instead of growing inside of yourself. And it is a reflection when other people explain to you that you need to spend time on yourself. Because when you embrace that student inside of yourself, when you embrace that person that you are inside, when you start to get down with the reason why things happened, why you had that emotion, why you had that pain, why you had that fear, then you find the root cause of it, and through finding the root cause, you have the ability inside of yourself to grow. You have the ability inside yourself to overcome. You have the ability inside of yourself to start believing in who you are on the inside. And that is likened to a student inside of a classroom starting to understand the stories within. And that takes a lot of patience. It takes becoming centered within yourself. It takes becoming a light within the universe. It takes extracting that kind of knowledge for that student, for that internal breath, for that connection with yourself to grow. as you allow that part inside of yourself to grow, as you allow that part inside of your being to utilize you. And that's a beautiful thing, that you can be a student inside of your classroom with your teacher. Your teacher will tell you this is positive. Your teacher will tell you this is a negative thing. It will start to allow you to decompress inside of who you are. It will start to allow you to see the challenges as they are in front of you, because the knowledge starts to free itself to you. So, are you able to give yourself that kind of time, to give yourself that kind of place to decompress your emotions, your pains as teachers, the lessons behind them, and your fears? What we are is an amazing thing within the universe. We're the only being that is both a student and a teacher in our lives. That when we get that aha moments inside of ourselves, that we start to gain that level of understanding, we start to gain that level of being, we start to gain that level of purpose inside of ourselves, that in fact the knowledge frees itself to you. So have you taken that kind of approach towards your own self-study? Have you taken that kind of approach to your own self-growth, to your own self-reflection, to your self-level of understanding? And so it's from within ourselves that we free ourselves. It's from within our own self-care that we open ourselves up to allow positivity, to allow those things such as addictions, such as pains, such as fears, to leave our lives. See, it's not somebody else that we change for. It's not somebody else that we allow ourselves to become the beautiful lights that we are inside. It's when we become that for ourselves that the other people around us start to see it. It's when we see that inside of ourselves that we start to believe in ourselves. So if we can yet but believe in who we are, if we can yet believe that we are a blessing within this universe, and start to know that you are a blessing, and that the Most High God made you, that the Most High God brought your challenges your way, that the Most High God brought you into a place where you have the ability to overcome those things that might stop you, then we're not searching for good and bad, my friends. We're searching for a positive force in your life. We're searching for the things that bring the beauty out inside of you, the things that uplift you, the things that bring you to a place where you see yourself, where you see your growth. You see that you are a blessing within this universe. So, when do we start to understand that the student and the teacher inside is there? This place comes from patience. It comes from a place of patience to the point where you're willing to observe your actions, your reactions, and the challenges that we face off against every day. The reason why we need time to observe is because that is the highest level of intellect on the face of the planet, is observation. So if we can start to become self-honest, if we can start to see the reasons why we get to the places of negativity, then we have a chance in overcoming them. We have a chance of making it through them, and we have a chance to overcome our challenges. So, how can we apply that? How can we apply that place of meditation, where other people see your self-study, your self-reflection, in such a way that self-mastery, has the ability to open itself up to you. You got to apply it. You got to put it in action. You got to put it into a plan. You got to put it down to where you apply your focus and your knowledge in such a way that you become the master of your being. You become the master of your understanding. You become the master of the person that you are inside. And that is when people become inspired by you. When you're doing that for yourself, when those challenges come up against you and you are still okay inside of you, that you can still care for them, and you will be who you are on the inside, that brings a reflection of inspiration with it. It uplifts one to focus to the point where they recognize their gifts. It uplifts one to focus to the point where they manifest their being, where their beauty starts to radiate outwards, where they start to shine outwards, where their focus from within themselves isn't about somebody else. In fact, the people that are meant to be around us are meant to embrace us. They're meant to help us to grow. They're meant to help us to be who we are on the inside. And it's not that we don't fight our addictions. It's so that we grow to the point where they no longer have the ability to hold us back once we ourselves have determined that that is not a positive force in our lives. So if yet I can inspire those that might be going through challenges for themselves and going through things that they don't know if they can overcome, to see that they are worth the investment in themselves, the investment in their challenges, the investment in their focus, and the investment to apply their focus and their knowledge together in such a way that they become centered within themselves, where they don't need external things to be who they are. They don't need things that hold them back. They don't need things that are stopping them from believing in themselves. Then we have the ability to utilize our challenges to our advantage. We have the ability to utilize our mentality. We have the ability to utilize our level of focus to the point where what we are going through does not have the ability to hold us back, stop us, and keep us viced. So, yet can we apply our focus and our knowledge to that point? Can we put ourselves in a place where we take ourselves from a victim mentality to a place where we overcome our challenges, where we truly overcome the things that stop us, where we truly overcome the things that will hold us back, that will truly overcome the things that don't have the ability to embrace our mentality. And it's inside of ourselves that we have that kind of knowledge to do so. When we know something is not positive in our lives and we continue to do it, when we allow vices to hold us back from who we are on the inside, we are not truly overcoming our challenges. We are not truly allowing ourselves to be beautiful to the point where we see what we have inside. We are not truly allowing ourselves to believe in who we are. When we believe in who we are, when we allow those negative things to leave our lives, when we don't listen to the people who are trying to bring you in a direction that is not you, bring you in a direction that is off the path that allows you to enlighten your being, to lighten your load, to lighten your challenges, what you're doing is allowing the things on the outside to crush you. So, how do we take that and turn it around? How do we focus to the point where our knowledge becomes applied? A lot of people called applied knowledge discipline. And that reflection that people call wisdom. So if we embrace those people, even when they're going through their challenges, then that ability inside of oneself starts to open up. When we know that we can overcome our challenges, when we liberate our mind, our body, and our spirit to the point where the being inside lights up, where the being inside starts to utilize it, where the being inside starts to focus to the point where we have that place inside of ourselves, where we have that place inside of our being, where we have that place to overcome our challenges, then discipline becomes applied. When we lose our discipline, we become victim to addictions, to other people taking advantage of us, to challenges that are not bringing us closer to ourselves. So when you are closer to yourself, it looks around you, and a lot of people say you've changed. You have not changed. You are just truly being who you are on the inside. It is them who is actually not seeing you for you. It is them that is not embracing you for yourself. It is them that is not hearing who you are on the inside. And so, how do we sit down at that level inside of ourselves? How do we sit down within our being and get to that place of discipline? How do we center ourselves? We have to look at our vibration. Okay? We have to look at what we vibrate outwards. And which angle and the reason why we did those types of things. The reason why those kind of challenges came up. The reason why those things that you're facing off against are in front of you. And it's only going to happen when you allow the person inside of you to grow. Allow the load to become lightened because you are who you are. Allow the load to become lightened because your being becomes beautiful. Your being becomes focused. Your being becomes knowledge. And it centers within focus and knowledge to the place of discipline. Now, a lot of people say it's not that easy until they sit in a room by themselves, until they sit down by themselves, until they decompress to the place where discipline comes out of who they are, to where discipline comes out of the being inside, to where discipline becomes the reflection from within oneself. Now, there are multiple forms of discipline. There is discipline in your reactions. There's discipline in your mentality. There's discipline in your diet, your being, your purpose, and in your path. Are we seeking those types of things? Are we seeking discipline within ourselves? Are we seeing our journey? And are we seeing the people who are along our journey and how they uplift us and how they allow us to be who we truly are on the inside? Instead of looking at how other people who don't sit down with you and spend the time with you to study you would say you've changed. So, if I've changed, then that is a blessing, because who you are inside is what matters the most. The things that you're going through, the challenges that you're facing off against, the mentality that you want to have, the person that you are inside. And ultimately, self-knowledge and self-focus is a reflection of self-love. So if you truly look from the outside in such a way as emotion, then self-knowledge, self-love to the point of discipline is ultimately self-knowledge, self-focus to the place of discipline is ultimately self-love. Are we doing that? Are we achieving that? Or are we putting ourselves in a place where the reason why we do stuff has to deal with emotion, has to deal with fears, and has to deal with pains? I want you to become disciplined, my friend, to that point. I want you to become disciplined to where you apply it, where you start to see it, where you start to manifest it, where things don't have the ability to hold you back. They don't have the ability to hold you down. They don't have the ability to stop you from growing inside of who you are. They don't have that ability to stop you from growing. So, are we doing that for ourselves? Are we getting to that part of who we are? Are we getting to the place inside of ourselves to where we allow who we are inside to open up? Are we allowing our mentality and our positivity and our beings to become applied? And a lot of people stop themselves at that page. They say, how in the world can I do that? Yet they don't spend the time to become disciplined. They don't spend the time to sit down with themselves. They forget about the being inside of who they are because they want to be something for other people. When do we look inside ourselves? When do we become inspired because we are who we are on the inside? And that is the true meaning of Valentine's Day. Self-care, self-love, self-understanding, self-reflection of positivity, not just towards yourself, but also the people that are around you, the people who care about you, see you for you, and they stop seeing you for things that you're not, the person that you're not inside, the blessings that you're this person inside of who you are is so beautiful. The challenges that you face off against, the things that you go through, the things that you want to achieve, the things that you want to overcome. And yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes patience. Yes, it takes wisdom. Apply focus and knowledge to the place of discipline where the reflection is applied in such a way that other people see your knowledge and they, my friends, become inspired. Like I say every time, is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? Because if it's not one of the three, I don't want it. Where are you on that spectrum? What is it that you're focusing into? Are you seeing the positive things that you're going through? Are you seeing the positive challenges that you're facing off against? Are you seeing the positivity inside of who you are? Inside of what you apply? Inside of what you're going through? Inside of the meaningfulness of the people that are around you and the people and the person who is within you? You are a light in this universe. You have a path, you have a journey, you have a purpose, and you are a blessing. And it's when you see it for yourself that you truly shine. It's when you see it inside of who you are that you start to open up. It's when you start to focus to that point where you utilize that person that you believe in inside of you. I've been along a long journey, my friends. I've been on a lot of pages. I've been through a lot of chapters. And what I can tell you is the most important page is the one that goes on within ourselves. The one that overcomes the challenges through discipline. the one who overcomes the things that nobody else can overcome for us. And when you start to overcome those things for yourself, when you start to overcome those things within you, you start to value yourself. You start to believe in yourself. You start to believe that you're a blessing within the universe. Then the universe starts to open up to you. Then you start to expand. Then you start to become who you are on the inside. And that is why the people that are for you will push the things away that they do not see you grow through. It is when you see the beauty inside of yourself, inside of your growth, inside of your mentality, inside of your clarity, that you are a place of discipline, that you are a temple, as written in the biblical, that you start to see yourself as the beauty that you are inside. What it takes for one to believe at that point is called discipline. What it takes for one to start to become that person. What it takes for one to start to remember things again is to start to focus through things and to start to overcome their challenges and to start to see their path and to start to see their purpose, is that all of us face off against challenges. All of us have things to work through. It's when we embrace them and we start to recognize that we can do it for ourselves to overcome them, that we can overcome this within ourselves. And sometimes we need space to do so. Sometimes self-love is that. Sometimes self-love is giving yourself that time. It is putting yourself in that place. It is finding a way to reflect and to sit inside and to start to understand one's being and to start to understand one's purpose and to start to understand that you are a blessing within the universe and that you can do amazing things. See, what I'm talking about is you inspired to be yourself. You inspired to be who you are on the inside. You inspired to believe in yourself, to believe in your being, to be the person inside that shines, that light that you have inside of you, the light inside of your understanding, the light inside of your being, the light inside of your purpose, and inside of your path. So are you focusing to that place? Are you focusing to that ability? Are you focusing to that level of mentality to where you are utilizing that person that you are on the inside, that you are no longer going to hurt yourself, hold yourself back, stop yourself from being who you are on the inside? We have that ability to get to that place inside of ourselves where we start to believe in ourselves. We start to believe in our being. We start to believe in our purpose. We start to believe in our path, and we start to believe in our journey. Are we able to do that for ourselves to where we start to see that light start to light up within this universe? You are an inspiration when you are applied focused knowledge to the point of discipline. When you stop becoming disciplined, you lose that place where knowledge and focus become applied. And the emotion, the actual motion, the actual energy inside of oneself loses the ability for other people to become inspired by you. Loses the ability for other people to see your action, to see your purpose, to see your path, to see your journey. And we can achieve that if we believe in ourselves. We can achieve that light if we give ourselves that place, if we give ourselves that purpose, if we give ourselves that ability to have that kind of path to where we become that kind of blessing within this universe. Can we do that for ourselves? Can we put ourselves in that place? Can we put ourselves into that ability to where we utilize that level of mentality, I just want you all to recognize that you are a blessing, that the challenges that you go through are worth it, the things that you're doing. And I want to bless you all with a wonderful, happy Valentine's Day. And as I close, I want to say blessings to you all and namaste.